All this free promo. Yes. Okay. Okay, perfect.
Tell the op can't snake me. Ray gun off safety. My girl so tasty. Tell her it's your world. She want the two-tone spaceship.
We are back, y'all. We are back. Y'all go ahead, rejoin the stream. Tell your friends, y'all, come on back now.
I'm out in Central America. I need a break from hysteria. Park like the one with the carousel. I get it lit in your area. I'm locked to the vision, it couldn't be clear. You couldn't pay me to care enough. I dare you to hate me supreme with the sound through the stereo. So turn it up loud when you hearing us. We live and it's good in your area. My mama proud, she tearing up and it's going down. Got your girl aroused by these massive stacks like 100 pounds. Running big laps, so the sun is down like 100 miles. 10 frames with me leaning down. Winning now.
Benjamin Dixon.
You ain't like me then, but how you like me now? Red one, if I hold you down, I'ma keep it there till we in the ground. Jet black when I paint the town, only blue sheets when they pay me now. Treat it setback.
Welcome back. Welcome back, everybody. We are in the middle of the Act.TV takeover. Act.TV is a progressive media company that is empowering progressive activists to be on the front line, the cutting edge of technology. I'm still joined by the CEO of Act.TV, Harry. One of the most exciting things I love about this partnership is not only the technology, but also, what we're getting ready to do now, which is to go live to the Capitol with two other people from Act.TV, two other team members. We have Jocelyn McCurdy-Keats, who is Act.TV's Washington correspondent, and we have Alex Lawson, who is Act.TV's political director, both coming to us now live from the Capitol. Good morning to everyone.
Wow.
Good morning. Good morning. Listen, I want to go right to you all at the Capitol. Alex, let me begin with you. It's important that we have access to what's happening at the Capitol because the stories that are happening, obviously, are coming from Washington, D.C. Tell us about Act.TV and how you all balance access to the halls of power, but maintain the spirit of activism.
Yeah, it's easy because we always will just bias towards activism and raising people's voices. Access in D.C. is generally an illusion used to con people into giving up their power in exchange for tchotchkes, for maybe a selfie from some special room or something. We don't need that. We have zero need for access here. People want to talk to us because they know that we're talking to the people. We have an audience that they need to move progressive policies forward. So I'd say the key thing for us is integrity. Act.TV has never kneeled for access, right? We never have said, we'll settle for not guaranteeing health care for everyone in this country as long as we get XYZ, right? And that is the key. As long as we maintain that integrity, we'll always have the amount of access that we actually need to fulfill our mission.
I love that. Jocelyn, if you want to chime in there, because it's not only everything that Alex just said so brilliantly, it's also that, you guys, you have a chip on your shoulder and you're fighting for something. You're fighting for justice. Talk to us.
Well, I love everything Alex said, but I just want to emphasize something else. We're in an age of false objectivity from the mainstream media, and this idea that because you're CNN or the Washington Post, you're actually presenting the facts in an unbiased way. And what we're saying is that's not true. A lot of these protests aren't covered. A lot of these very common sense policy interventions aren't given the space they need, like single-payer health insurance, like racial justice, like any number of things that the majority of Americans actually want. So we're here to say, I'm sorry, we don't need that selfie with you, allegedly moderate senator. We're going to tell the truth.
That's right. Dr. Mack, jump in there.
What do you think the situation would be if mainstream media wanted to partner with you as a way of maybe even trying to silence you? At what point, is there a point that you would want to talk to mainstream media about what they are not doing in opposition to the authenticity of what you're doing to try to bring the people's message to the people?
So I know that Alex is going to agree with me on this, but so no, because one of the false myths that we have in this time period is that you need everybody, and you don't. Everything from abolition of slavery to suffrage for women was achieved by a small, dedicated minority. And this myth that we need cross-partisan, whatever that even means anymore, support for all these things, we just don't. We need a dedicated, empowered, honorable base of people who are willing to fight for what they believe in.
Harry, I'm smiling ear to ear because I'm sorry. Go ahead, Alex. Jump in there.
I was just going to say one of my taglines, and I know you all know this, but we also have We Act Radio, which is my radio station in Anacostia neighborhood of D.C. And you know, the truth is, before we have the political revolution, we need a media revolution, because the corporate media is never going to engage with us in some sort of good faith manner or some sort of honest manner. The corporate media is the opposition. I mean, when we're fighting against pharma, who are killing us with high drug prices, a murderous cartel of 3 companies that kills people who need insulin to live. What are the commercials that you see on CNN or on Fox News or on MSNBC? It's pharma. It's pharma commercials on them. The point of corporate media is not to tell the truth. The point of corporate media is to protect the bottom line of the corporations who own the media. And there's only a handful of them, and it's the same plutocracy that we're fighting on so many other fronts. So the engagement that we have and that we have with the corporate media is one of we're going to beat you in the end. We're going to win. Right. We have in the people, and you don't.
Harry, I want to come to you. I love this, Alex and Jocelyn. This is our first time, I think, sharing airtime together, and I'm energized by your energy. I've been rocking with this faction of the left for years, and this relationship, this partnership that you have with the morning show, you know, I'm not the easiest guy to work with, but you guys have created space, and then you recognize there's a veil that we engage in. You don't tell us what to say, and I can tell you don't tell Alex what to say. I can tell you don't tell Jocelyn what to say. You have a collection of independent free thinkers who are just now coalescing around ACT.TV. Tell us about that.
We have the privilege of having an exceptional team. And I think that it's a function of the team that we've created that we've been able to accomplish as much as we've had. And just give a little bit more history too. Alex and I, Alex is also executive director of Social Security Works. He is also co-owner of We Act Radio, like you mentioned. But Alex, I first realized, was in the cutting edge of live streaming when we both had producers on the ground in Ferguson after Black Lives Matter first started getting off the ground. And later on, we also both live streamed the People's Climate March and other big events. But Alex, I would love to hear you tell the story of like how did you end up with one of the best live streams from Ferguson when it mattered most?
That's a great question, Harry, and an important story. I don't want to go on too long about it, but the truth is that the corporate media will never tell the truth about what's actually happening in this country, whether it's systematic violence against Black Americans, whether it's the fact that the so-called healthcare system is actually a wealth extraction system aimed at robbing us, right? All of that, they're not going to tell the truth about that. So We Act Radio, I built with my business partner, Kimon Freeman, to just get there and tell the story from the ground of what's going on. And at the time, we were building a lot of the technology as well, like with bubble gum and duct tape many times. But it worked. We had an amazing live stream from Ferguson. and we were, Rock Newman is a really amazing man here in Washington, D.C. He was Riddick Bowe's boxing manager. If anyone wants to Google him, he's amazing. And he had his show at We Act Radio. He got us in contact with the activists in Ferguson. And the pitch is the same thing we do now, right? He said, we're going to bring a camera, but we're going to tell the actual story of what's happening.
That's it.
We're not CNN who's going to cut away to sell some pills or whatever else their advertisers are. We're only interested in telling the story of what's actually happening here. And so when we got to Ferguson, we were already engaged with the activists and the movement and the struggle for justice that was occurring. And our entire point was to just pop a camera up and get that directly to people. And it was a theory at the time, right? Like we didn't know that people would actually want to watch in the middle of a protest, right? Like CNN and them don't do that. There's a talking head and maybe they have some B-roll of protests. Well, actually, the truth is a lot of people really wanted not just to watch it, but it actually allowed people to participate in it. And that's the thing that I think Harry and I saw independently, and then we merged forces on that, was that what we're doing is not just reporting on something or that. We're giving people around the country, around the world, the possibility of engaging, of participating in these movements, even if they can't be there on the ground themselves.
That's right. That's right.
So
That was
Jocelyn,
Go ahead, Dr. Mack.
So Jocelyn and Alex, let me just tell you what comes to mind as I'm listening to the two of you. I literally see that picture of the Constitution, the preamble, when it's in big bold letters and it says, "We the people." That's what you all invoke as I listen to the two of you. And thank you so much for bringing the message of the people. That is the image that I see when I listen to the authenticity of the two of you and the body of work that you're doing. And I just want to say on behalf of the people, thank you all so very much.
Yeah, absolutely. I want to play another clip, and this one is of Alex, you and Jocelyn speaking to David Sirota, who is the producer for the movie and one of the writers for the movie Don't Look Up. Brother Mac, we've talked about that movie several times. David Sirota is a part of this community. This is a shared space. He's been on the morning show. And Alex and Jocelyn, you had a chance to speak with him. This is brought to us by ACT TV, ACT.TV. Become a member, ACT.TV. Let's run that clip.
This movie is not prophecy or destiny. It's cautionary. And there's a line in the movie that actually hasn't gotten a ton of attention, which to me is one of the most important lines. It's where in Leonardo DiCaprio's sort of network-esque rant on TV, where he kind of breaks down, he says, "We could have stopped it." And to me, that is such an important line.
Yes. And Ben, I remember watching the movie, and in comparison to everything else, Don't Look Up was a strong comparison between the asteroid hitting the Earth as depicted in the movie and the pandemic. We could have stopped it. But because Negative 45 and so many folks in the media played around with this box and allowed this thing to get out, we had it at a time when we could have stopped it. So I agree. It was such an important line in the movie.
Speak to that. Actually, I would love to hear from all of you, Alex and Jocelyn and Harry. It is the fact that movie spoke to why ACT.TV has to exist. I give you all the floor.
Well, I think there's a gaslighting that happens if you're even a little bit on the side of reality in this country that really resonated with everybody watching Don't Look Up, which is why it's the most watched movie on Netflix right now. Because anybody watching this play out, seeing that we only have 10 years to fix the climate crisis, and at this point less, anyone who's watching a pandemic take hundreds of thousands of lives is feeling just totally gaslit by the political and media structure that allegedly serves reality. And I think we're here to say we actually have the power We really do.
Right.
There's a quote from Rev Yearwood that I really love, which is organized people beat organized money every single time. And we're here to build hope. We're supposed to say, hey, we can do this together. We actually can. This isn't something to be nihilistic about, even though we are being shamed into silence by some very powerful people.
Right.
And Jocelyn, to that point, let me just bring this Black perspective of gaslighting. That is exactly how we as Black folk feel right now. When we want to understand our culture and history in this country, and now they bring in this concept of this battle against CRT to say, no, we're not going to teach about what happened to Black folk in this country. And now you can see the remnants of the day. It is that same level of gaslighting that is taking place right now. So you can look at it with the pandemic, you can look at it with climate change, and you can certainly look at it with the telling of America's story through the lenses of Black folk.
That's right. That's right. Alex, I would love to hear you speak about that. And then, Alex.
Yeah, it's that interview with Sirota was really fun. So as you noted, Ben, Sirota is an activist. I mean, he's been fighting in the struggle for justice for his entire life. And as is often the case, his recompense for that was he's viciously attacked all over the place by partisan hacks and whatnot. And all of that, I get some joy out of thinking about how sad they must be right now when Oscar-nominated David Sirota is asked about how his parody of the exact system. And this is what I don't know if I can bring it home and explain it so much, but the movie was so powerful for me because it was right. This is an insider's parody of what we're actually up against. And the thing is, I try to explain this on our show all the time. People want it to be House of Cards. They want it to be really complicated, and there's smart people in secret rooms doing all this stuff that you about, and there's there is no plan. It's not ever House of Cards. It's always Veep. It's always Veep. It's so stupid
Idiocracy.
That it's
always
idiocracy. Hard. Yes, it's actually hard for people to believe that it's that stupid. You're literally dumb billionaires want to profit off of the destruction of the planet, right? They want the world to burn so that they can ride a phallus-shaped rocket into space, right? It's funny because that actually happened.
This is where we are.
The important thing, and it's something that Jocelyn said, and I think is some people miss on Don't Look Up, is just how much it's a movie of hope. Because the point of Don't Look Up isn't that this is an inevitability. It's to show how the people in power have no clothes on. Don't believe them. The asteroid is coming. Global climate crisis is here, and we have the power to stop it. And the only people who lose when we do is that asinine billionaire in his phallus-shaped rocket. And they're wrong. One of the most powerful lines in there.
Yes.
Go ahead.
And Ben, let me say this. As he's saying that the billionaires keep winning, folks losing, I can't help but think about Brian Flores. He's now saying for 100 years, you've been trying to make this like it's such a complex issue. The numbers don't lie. 70% of Black folks make up the league, but you billionaires want to try to tell us that we ain't qualified, we ain't this, we ain't. Man, get up out of here with that nonsense.
That's right.
Alex, you couldn't have put it more succinct. But for whatever issue it is, history clearly shows me from a Black perspective these same examples, and this is the very situation that the billionaires owners are trying to say to 70% of its Black players, to all of the Black audience. No, don't look up, because there are no Blacks who are qualified to be head coaches in a profession in which you are using 70% of our skill set.
Come on. The gaslighting is abundant. Listen, I know it is freezing cold out there. Alex Lawson, Act TV's political director, Jocelyn McCurdy-Keats, Act TV's Washington correspondent. We could hold you there. We could talk a little bit more. I want to swing back to Harry, because Harry, with everything that I'm hearing from Alex, everything I'm hearing from Jocelyn, with the technology, we have Sabrina, you guys are partners here with us at the Benjamin Dixon Morning Show. Tell us about the future, right? We see what you all have done. Tell us what's coming up for Act TV and why everyone needs to become a member now.
So these teams, Alex's teams, the Benjamin Dixon Morning Show team, Act TV, the team we've developed over the last 10 years, everything coming together. Like we need everyone to really make the media that the movement needs to take our work to the next level. And what's exciting about what's happening now is that the technology is forcing changes. CNN is launching CNN Plus, NBC, MSNBC are moving to Peacock. The writing's on the wall, and there's a big opportunity space if we can skate to where the puck is going and try to jump out ahead of where the competition is. And that's where we're so appreciative for the help of not just the Benjamin Dixon Show, not just all the amazing hosts and producers you have, but the community that you've cultivated. Like this needs to be all of us. Not just like watching great content, not just sharing great content, but taking the correlated action and making sure that together these movements are more effective across the board.
Well, folks, it is 10:24. I know it's cold out there in Washington, D.C. Harry, thank you so much for the work that you're doing at Act TV. Our partners, I want to encourage everyone. The first step to becoming a member is simply just going to sign up to the email list, act.tv. At that point, you can make your decision about whether or not you want to become a paid patron. Support independent media. Support progressive independent media, act.tv. Thank you, Harry. Send our best to the entire team, to the folks in Alex and Jocelyn. Thank you so much for being there in Washington, D.C. Dr. Mack, if you can't tell, my wife is lingering in the corner there. I've got to get ready for homeschool. DJ Exclusive, I know you've been back there the entire time, brother. Thank you so much. Crank up a little bit of music, and we'll do this again sometime soon, Harry. I thank you guys.
Thank you, fam.
Thank you again so much, Act TV, for everything that you're doing. Make sure that you go ahead and join today. Act.tv, act.tv. Make sure that you go join, become a member today. Don't miss out on that. Hey, and tonight, don't forget, Patron Party tonight. Patron Party tonight. All Black Everything. You don't want to miss it. Make sure that you have your face in the place. We're going to make a movie tonight. Bring yourself, bring a friend. You're going to have fun. I guarantee it'll love you a minute. All right, y'all. Make sure that you have a great weekend. Valentine's Day is Monday. Bah, hum, damn, bug. But you want to make sure you have a great weekend, man. And your affirmation for this weekend, your affirmation. I allow myself to peacefully detach from anyone who has hurt or harmed me. Ooh, let me say that again. I allow myself to peacefully detach from anyone who has hurt or harmed me. Y'all go be great this weekend, man. Y'all have a great time. Y'all be safe, all that good stuff. We will see you tonight. If we don't see you tonight at the Patron Party, we will see y'all on Tuesday. Deuces, everybody. Love y'all, man.
I took a bite of that life and it tastes so exquisite. It feel like you do when you look in my pendant. Hopeless romantic, my girl, chin up for the kid. I'm not on no simps. Won't stop till the youngest he dreams. Wanna take him from rags to riches. I heard that you claim that you know me, but you ain't the homie to f*** is your friendship. I need the loyalty, back up the royalty. I give a f*** if you notice me. Ain't nobody holding me. Big wave at your shoreline, so they know it's me. Babe boy from the cold seas. Nitro with a new pen, go at ISO. Tell him don't reach. Ice cold with it, no fleece. I'ma need safety. Tell her I can't snake me. Ray gun off safety. My girl so tasty. Tell her it's your world. She want the two-tone spaceship. Blow smoke screen daily, so the stress don't faze me. I'm going, hey, look, going.